But in your own words, like how you then define clearly to someone like what is the mental health, and is there like any stages to it, mental health, like some low mental health maybe or medium, like or is this just a term mental health?
Like you experience mental health on a scale of unhealthy to healthy, right?
Mhm.
And that's everyone's journey is the same, or sorry, different. But what I want people to understand is you can move along that scale during different times in your life.
Yeah.
So there's times where you're going through difficulty that you'll lean towards this direction. And then there's times in your life where you lean in this direction. And then there's some instances where you might find yourself at the end of the scale towards mental illness. And then there's times in your life where you'll be totally mentally healthy.
Mhm.
But what does it take to get to each end? And most of us exist somewhere in that middle where we're bouncing between the two sides. To go through depression, to go through anxiety because you're going through a divorce, a loss, a significant loss, you're grieving,
Yeah.
to go, to go through a depression during those times is okay. It's normal. That's the way your body is programmed to work,
Yeah.
right? If you're in depression for months and years, then there's something to look at,
Yeah.
right? In terms of getting help and support or medication or what you need. But even if you were to decide to get some support when you're going through something difficult like a loss or a difficult time in your life and depression is just reactionary, it's okay to get support even during that time, because what that helps you manage is that depression in that short period of time, so that you build the skills, you build the muscle, the strength, so that you can lift out of the depression and then become stronger to bear the next obstacle or the next challenge.
Yeah. You think like if someone is dealing with the depression, they can like get themselves out like their own, or they really need
Absolutely,
help
I do.
from the outer sources?
I think if you have the right equipment, if you have the right strategies, if you have the knowledge, yes, you can. And so that's where SOS and Mind Armor are a little bit different. SOS psychotherapy is there to serve people when they need that support, when they're in immediate crisis,
Hmm.
when they want to work on something very specific, and look to their past because they notice that there's a behavior pattern, there's something that I'm doing that is causing me to live in this cycle. That's where the therapy comes in.
Yes.
But there's another side to that. It's the coaching. What if you
Mhm.
went for mental health coaching? And please don't just go to any coach out there. There's lots of people out there calling themselves coaches, but mental health is a very um, specialized space that I
Mhm.
do suggest that you go to somebody who's licensed or registered,
Yeah.
because you don't want to put your mental health into somebody who's not qualified to talk about mental health, trauma, or some of the
Yeah.
things that you might be going through. So I'm not saying go to a coach. I'm saying somebody who understands how to coach. So I've got certificates in both, right? I'm a certified coach as well as a licensed therapist. So when I work with somebody, I can work with some of their past patterns, their established behaviors to help them in a therapeutic sense. But I'm also then able to help them move from the present state to a preferred future. Like, how do they want to be stronger,
Mhm.
mentally stronger? How do they want to be more mentally resilient? And we start putting those things in place so that they're able to navigate life's obstacles and challenges better.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. Like if you are going to someone and sharing your vulnerability, because in other words, you are sharing your past self, you are sharing your experiences. And so if you are sharing your how vulnerable you are, you should go to someone like who is professional in that field. I just couldn't agree more.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this pandemic, has turned out so many new entrepreneurs, so
Mhm.
many new coaches, people who are talking about mental health and trying to help people that don't have the qualifications. And that's a huge concern. Because when we're dealing with somebody who's vulnerable, who's fragile, we can do more harm
Yes.
than good. So it's really important that when you seek support, that you go and actually ask some very specific questions to determine whether that person is the right person for you, to
Mhm.
invest your time, to invest your money, and to invest yourself.
Yeah.
Because it can be a difficult process, and you want to make sure that you're in the hands of the right person. So
Okay.
if you wanted to, Harpreet, if you wanted to go to the gym and you wanted to work on, getting a six pack, right? Abs of steel, you would go to somebody who knows what they're talking about,
Yes.
right? You would go to somebody who knows how to isolate those muscles, someone who knows how to tone, train, and strengthen those muscles. You wouldn't go to a shoulder guy,
Yeah.
right? And you would go to somebody who's certified, somebody who's got that credibility. So the same is with your mental health. You would go to somebody who's a professional, who spends years training and understanding, who has that experience. And you got to make sure that they're not only about qualifications, but that you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Because if you're not comfortable, you're not going to open up. So you want to know, the number one thing for me is that you're going to be comfortable to start to open up about yourself. So is there a good energy between you two? Is there a rapport? Is there a connection? That's huge.
Yes.